Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the Revell Germany Rafale C Arctic Tiger model that I just finished. It was an amazing model. Kind of complicated paint scheme and decaling and stuff like that, but I think I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. Okay, so as usual, the Revell Germany does a really good job of their color, builder's guide. Here it is, Dassault Rafale C. Beautiful paint scheme. I'll show you the finished model in a second. Be patient. And once again, as typical with Revell Germany, it's got a lot of do's and don'ts, and it's got their little instructions guide, and then it's got their more instructions, and then it's got their paint scheme, which I always make like a photocopy of their paint scheme and just pin it up on my wall. That way I can just easily reference what I need. Another cool thing is my local hobby store, Hobbytown, over in Kennesaw, Georgia, is now stocking the Revell aqua color. I did find, however, with my Iwata Neo and even my Iwata Eclipse, I had to do some considerable thinning to get those paints to push through. So I ended up just doing some color matching and used my never have to thin Vallejo Model Air AV stuff, which is just fantastic with airbrushing. Anyways, there's more of the paints. A lot of the hand brush stuff I used the Revell colors, but then I used some of the Vallejo for, especially for the main body paint scheme. I really didn't want to botch that up. And then it gives you your sprue diagrams, your sprue tree diagrams, shows you what all the parts are, and then the black parts right there shows you that, yeah, you're not using these parts, so don't worry about them. And then it, the usual Revell Germany diagrams, which are really, really detailed. Gives you the color, gives you the, do you want to do this or do you not want to do this type stuff. Wasn't totally impressed with the instrument panel. I had to do a little bit of alternate painting myself, but whatevs. Everything came together pretty nicely. However, I did have to kind of flex this top part of the fuselage. No, I'm sorry, the bottom part of the fuselage. I had to kind of flex it in because it was a little wider. But I guess that's just how the model comes, and you have to do that. So, of course, I give myself little notes on things that I'm going to wait on until I finish painting the model, and then I come back and do some of the minutia stuff. Anyways, like I said, very detailed. Went back and did the landing gear after I did all the painting. You don't have to follow the directions, step by step, especially if you want to get to the painting first before you get to the rest of the model, the smaller parts of the model. It gives you alternates if you want the landing gear up. I had the landing gear down because it's a 1/48 scale, and I display all my 1/48 scales on a shelf. And then the last few pages are just all the bombs and fuel tanks and accoutrement that goes with it. And of course, I only, since it was a air show display model, ooh, quick peek, air show display model, I only put a couple of the sidewinders and the Arctic Tiger decaled fuel tank. And then, which I find really nice, first they give you a page of just the paint scheme. So it tells you, okay, this is how you need to paint it. Yes, I was very nervous about painting this model because I didn't want to screw it up, because I knew the decals had to match with the paint scheme. So it goes from this to this. The silver is actual decal, as well as the French insignia and so forth. And so let me turn this way. Really love the Arctic Tiger on the tail. Ooh, quick peek again. Anyways, I just thought it came out really well. A couple of the decals I either omitted or had to really tweak because it didn't fit well. And I just thought, you know, rather than messing it up, I'll just leave it out. So it also gives you an alternate paint scheme and decaling for just an active fighter, you know, belonging to the Armée de l'Air, which is their French version of the Air Force. And, you know, it gives you that in case you don't want to go with the Arctic Tiger. And, you know, I thought about it for a second. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Let me just do the standard. But I didn't. Quick peek again. Anyways, and then it gives you a whole page, color page of bombs and missiles and so forth that you can add on if you'd like. Now, here is the finished model. Ta-ta-ta-ta. There's the beautiful Arctic Tiger decal. And let me tell you, for the first time, I used this Mr. Mark setter, and I've used the Mr. Mark softer before, and let me tell you something, they were really good, especially with these types of decals that had to, you know, fit the contours of the plane. It really did a fantastic job of doing it. I can't zoom it in even more because I'm just using my phone, but there's some spots that actually look like they were painted on. So the black and white here is paint, but if you look right here, this is all decal, and it really, really did a great job of just form-fitting those decals onto the body and into the panel lines and such, making it look like you actually had painted those. I didn't, it's decals. Ooh, hit the plane by accident. And then there's the Arctic Tiger fuel tank. There's a Sidewinder missile. I'm gonna do a quick panel line wash. I haven't done it yet, and I'm just using straight up chalk pastels with some water. Drop a detergent in there to give it some surface adherence. But this little decal right here that went across the front right here, man, it's hard to see, but it actually looks like I just painted that baby on, and I didn't. It was a decal. And so that Mr. Mark setter and softer really worked well. So there's the landing gear and such. Really beautiful model. Highly recommended. Good friend of mine, Michelle, bought it for me for my birthday. Don't know where she ordered it from, probably Amazon. But anyways, just a fantastic model. Lots of detail. Paint scheme came out really well. I'm impressed with myself because I really was nervous about doing this model. And I waited a long time to do it, but I thought it came out pretty well. Anyways, highly recommend this model. Great fit. The decals, like I said, were a little tricky here and there, but overall, just a fantastic model. The Revell Dassault Rafale Arctic Tiger 2, thumbs up. Can't do the other thumb because I'm holding my phone. Anyways, see you later.